Yeah, blah 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 blah. Yeah, blah 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 blah. Cheers, man. From one flask to another. We got our Indescendants sticker on our flask, so
look at that.
That's how we're starting it off.
Hydration is good.
Ooh, tight, nice.
Gotta stay hydrated.
I don't know about you guys, but recently I've been placing more of an emphasis on hydration, and I just feel better in my body. My thoughts are clearer. Like I'm able to think faster, and my workouts are better. I don't feel winded at all. I feel like my heart has a better time of pumping blood.
Oh, okay. Right on. That's cool.
Like, I'm not even
nice.
winded. I used to get really winded during jiu-jitsu. Now I don't, and I don't get winded during Muay Thai as well. And I don't get winded when I do my cardio and weightlifting. So I think a big part is water. But when you do drink water, we ask that you support us by placing an Indescendants sticker on your drinking apparatus.
Yeah, whatever it is. Like, we just happen to have hydro flasks. Even though that's not what we got, but you know.
Oh, I don't have a sticker, but I'm drinking coffee. So that's revert. That's not for hydration. It's so we could get up in the morning. Oh yeah, well, this is a morning podcast. Welcome to another
morning
Saturday morning coffee cast.
And your
Damn.
puppy's here being.
You know what would be good? To accompany your coffee, Jason? An Indescendants breakfast burrito.
Oh my.
Yeah, so we
Dude.
touched on that last time.
Stay tuned for that, you guys.
We do want to release that at some
Yeah.
point. So your little puppy here is being a puppy.
Ooh, we got to get the puppy out of here, out of the studio.
Let it be known. I was talking with Tim the other day about this, but I am super serious about creating an Indescendants frozen foods line. And it's going to be a frozen breakfast burrito that's going to be sold at your nearest health food store near you. Probably just Costco and Whole Foods.
Yeah, likely going to be very much full of really wholesome ingredients and stuff.
Yeah.
So really cool, man. Really cool. But yeah, man. Like, I don't even actually have water in here. I have athletic greens because I love athletic greens. They're not paying me to say this, but I just love athletic greens, man. They taste good and they make me feel good. Especially in a COVID environment, it doesn't hurt to have all the right ingredients with Whole Foods. So that's what this is.
Nice.
Well, since we're on the subject of unofficial sponsors, I'd just like to say this podcast is also unofficially brought to you by RX Bar. No BS. Has wholesome ingredients in it. Really, all it has is egg whites, almonds, cashews, chocolate, sea salt, and coconut. So,
Oh, I know what those are.
That's a good one.
Those are actually really good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Meal in a bar.
You know.
yep.
Really,
I was
really
I was so looking forward to getting a breakfast burrito this morning. I was like, should I just drive and grab a breakfast burrito real quick? But instead, not as good. I made myself a croissant, ham and cheese croissant.
Or
Oh,
do you?
dude, just as good.
Just as good.
We'll also have the Indescendants ham and cheese croissant.
Oh yeah.
Just
cool
have
would
a
that
whole
be?
fucking food line. That'd be funny.
Well, when we started Indescendants, we said to ourselves that we were going to make it whatever we wanted. And if whatever we want is making breakfast burritos and ham and cheese croissants, then so be it.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, bro. It's
Yeah,
really
who
good
doesn't
stuff.
who doesn't like a breakfast burrito or ham and cheese croissant?
Vegans.
Oh,
That's right.
Vegans. Yeah.
Or I hear there are people now who just eat straight up fruit because eating straight up fruit doesn't kill the plant.
Are you a Yoshi?
Yeah.
I know Yoshis eat fruit. Yoshis are cute. Are you cute too?
Are you a green dinosaur?
Yeah.
Yoshi. Yoshi
my,
story.
My favorite Yoshi was the black one. Because the black one looked like the dopest one. He had the lowest voice, like really low. And then he loved all the fruits. Like he was just like, man, I love watermelon.
Wait, refresh me on what series that was.
This is Yoshi's Story on Nintendo 64.
Oh, yes, Yoshi's
It was
Story.
just exclusively a Yoshi game, and it was kiddie.
I remember that.
Like very kid-like, very G-rated kind of experience.
Yeah, yeah.
But it did promote eating fruit, at least.
Nice.
You know, not getting high on mushrooms like Mario. The guy ate the dinosaur ate fruit.
Yeah.
So
Mario messed
fruit's
up.
good, man. I love fruit. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the fruit that I've been eating lately is peaches, actually.
Nice.
Peaches, apricots, plums, in that family, nectarines. I think nectarine is a cross between a peach and a plum, which is cool.
Perhaps.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Nice.
But particularly those white peaches are really good. They're not
Nice.
too sweet. Yeah, man. Those are the fruits that I've been eating lately.
Nice. I
For me,
haven't had them in a while.
For me, I've been eating a bunch of green apples, blueberries, and that's pretty much it. Just green apples and blueberries. I like
Yeah.
the tartness of green apples.
Yeah, they're really
I've been
good.
doing morning bananas. That seems to have the most hefty fullness factor in the morning when you're on the go.
Yeah.
Couple bananas, coffee. I'll be good. I'll be good for a couple hours. with
Very
that.
good and high in potassium.
Borat.
Yeah, man. But yeah, the bananas are great, man.
Yeah.
I think they go with a lot of things.
Yeah, man.
They go with ice cream, banana
Yeah.
split.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a good coagulating source of. It's what clumps your smoothie together. If you don't throw a banana in there, it's like kind of watery, you know.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter
Banana.
too, even more
Peanut
so.
butter and banana. I know that's like a protein formula or something.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
people who work out do that.
Yeah.
Bananas and
You know,
peanut butter.
nut butter has any sort of nut butter has gained a lot of popularity over the years, like almond butter,
Cashew butter.
cashew butter. Oh, that's pretty good too. Yeah.
Cashews
Yeah.
are ridiculously expensive for a reason.
Why is that?
So I watched this video, like, YouTube. Usually I'll watch something educational before I go to sleep. So I've watched this video on cashews. They come from trees. They're like the top of a fruit or something that come off of the tree. And the fruit's like this big, and the cashews are this big. This is not to scale, but
Okay.
they take that off. And it's not the cashew straight. It's like encased in something. And it's extremely toxic to the skin to peel it. So the people who peel
What?
it, either they get really fucked up hands, but they wear gloves, but the gloves still don't get everything off.
Whoa.
And it's an arduous process to get a cashew process from the very beginning to the end product. And that's the reason why cashews cost so much. But that has also created industry in these villages where they grow cashews. Like in other parts of the world.
Where these farmers are paid
Yeah, they're getting
Maybe
paid
top dollar.
to make cashews. Yeah.
and to harvest them.
Yeah, to harvest them, to grow them, to harvest them, to peel them, and then to turn them into the cashews we all like to eat.
So maybe at the end of the day, we're really paying for is mostly labor.
Oh yeah, the labor. It's because again, like you don't get a whole lot from one fruit of the cashew, and then it's dangerous to make.
Man.
Or it's not dangerous, but it's like making it is like it's not good for your skin.
Right. The refining
So-
process is not deadly, but yeah.
They're trying
man.
to make machines so that the cashews don't have to be peeled by people anymore. But what sucks about that is, although people don't have to risk their hands getting messed up, they will also lose the industry.
I mean,
So-
talk about things that have been automated these days. Almost. Excuse me, guys. It's coffee. Maybe I should have gotten water, but pardon me. Talk about things that have been automated. There's all sorts of automated processes in factories. People have lost their jobs because of automation, and in turn have made lives better. But we've gone from like cashless, purchasing to automating when you want to get a ride from a ride share, Uber, Lyft, what have you. All sorts of things have been automated. I wonder like what jobs are going to be like, a decade from now, but
Well, when I stopped by in South Korea before moving here to Singapore, there was a baggage carry service that was offered by a robot that follows you throughout the entire airport.
robot.
Yeah, so
man.
you just load your luggage onto that robot, and that robot uses its camera functions to just follow you and carry your luggage for you. So that kind of
That's a
eliminates
job
the
gone.
need of a sky cap or someone who works at the airport that carries luggage for you to assist you or drive the
Yeah.
cart to assist you.
Yeah,
No,
so that guy's
no.
gone now. That guy's job's gone.
Yeah, he was replaced by Skynet.
Oh man,
Kinda.
super automated.
Dude, so like I know I saw this like on a feed. Like UCLA has a robot that just delivers food.
Whoa.
Like you order food from somewhere, they put it on this. Actually, that happens in LA now too. There are some of these robots that go along Melrose and deliver food from a restaurant to
Someone's home?
Yeah, someone's home.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. That's pretty nuts.
They're doing there are grocery
of that.
stores now that are going to have that already have cashier lists, customer service lists.
Oh yeah, that's getting bigger and bigger.
There are cameras, also a lot, all the not CCTVs, but yeah, the cameras that are tracking your face and the products that you put in, and the carts have scanning features. You just put the stuff in your cart, walk out of the store. It probably like pings your phone, and then that's it. You just walk in, walk out. Almost little to no human interaction.
Isn't that how the Amazon store works?
I think. Yeah, it does.
You walk in, you don't even have to whatever you walk out with, it charges you automatically.
Yeah.
You pass through sensors, it's like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to a counter and pay for it. You just walk out and it gets charged to your account straight.
You don't even have to scan it.
You don't even have to scan
it. Yeah, at a
yeah,
post. Yeah,
you just go. Isn't it? I feel like it is.
That's the thing, yeah.
But
automation,
that's
man.
pretty
That's
that's
nuts.
pretty nuts. Dang. The eliminating jobs.
Well, that just highlights the need that everybody needs to be flexible and be ready to evolve with the times. Because can you imagine if this stuff wasn't invented? We can't just not invent these things for the sake of remaining the same and just sticking to the status quo. One of the cool things about life is constantly improving.
And adapting.
See, I think when people develop these technologies, it's to ultimately we all have the same goal, which I think the goal here is okay, if we're gonna develop these technologies to make people not have to do so much work, right? It ultimately is supposed to give people more time to do the things they really want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Is when I think about that a cashier at Walmart, a lot of the cashiers at Walmart I see probably would rather be spending their time with their family or doing something else. I don't know what it's like to be a cashier. I don't have any friends who are, but I can only assume that they would rather be doing something else.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody dreams of being a cashier. So when they develop this technology, I think it's just so that these people don't have to do that job. Maybe they can do something more meaningful.
Right.
I'm looking at it at a very optimistic lens.
Yeah.
Something more meaningful, meaning what they like to do, what their passion is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So means to an end versus anything else.
Yeah, the job has been eliminated, which kind of sucks. See, the dark side of that is that you're eliminating somebody's job and livelihood.
Right.
So, I was thinking the same about McDonald's. When are we going to have a McDonald's that's just fully automated?
I mean,
fully. And I mean fully.
That's a great question, Tim,
from
because
the very beginning. And I'm talking about no people involved. Maybe one or two people just to kind of make sure in case there is
whatever.
Something maintenance or to put something back on track if it's not. But think about it. A McDonald's where you want to put an order, it's a touch screen because they have those now.
Yeah.
And then
that's been a thing, yeah.
There's this automated machine that's flip the burger, whatever, boom, and then it just like fucking makes the burger like perfect every time.
Yeah.
And then it just hands it to you
Yeah.
fully automated.
Well, okay. Well, that's the right question, because in the manufacturing side of things for food, it's already automated. All those burger patties and bread. I mean, there are conveyor belts. There has been machinery to make the food. Why can't it be a fully automated process for the end user also?
I know.
And you know what? To correct for errors, computers. I mean, the computers can correct for errors. AI technology and machine learning is getting to a point where, as you know, it's a bit scary, but the AI technology robots can act like humans already. Maybe not 100%, but
I know there's technology.
They're programming emotion into some of these robots. It's nuts. I mean, you guys can look it up yourself. But
Skynet, The Matrix,
everything. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Good movies.
Yeah.
God, the Terminator. Second Terminator was the best Terminator.
Was iRobot any good?
I didn't watch that one.
That's the Will Smith one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But like
talking about how jobs are getting eliminated because of these technologies, I know it's a cool thing experiencing these technological advances, and I know I just said that people need to learn how to evolve, but you know, sometimes I see these employees that are manning these jobs. They're in their maybe late 40s, early 50s, maybe in their 60s. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't know if there's if they would even have the energy or opportunity to evolve. You know, like
that's really it.
And
those are the kind of people whose jobs were well, I mean humanity, are eliminating.
Yeah.
So like I see a lot of these, again, cashiers. They're usually like older people or young people. There's not a whole lot of people in the middle, but like the Walmart, the ones in Walmart who are older, they're usually like they're old, you know, like 60s, 70s, something like that. It's like they're just trying to get by, you know, just because they're old. They don't
have something to do, you know.
They don't have something to do, or they just need to make some money, extra cash. But when you eliminate that job, it's like, damn, what are they going to do now? They're not going to learn how to do something else or do something more physically demanding.
Right.
Like
or go back to school.
Or go back to school.
They're damn sure not going to go back to school and learn a new trade. And even if you had to learn a new trade, man, you're going to have to invest all that time again to relearning something. Like when you're in your late 50s and early 60s, I would imagine it's time to start winding down so that you can just enjoy the rest of your life.
Yeah, man. That's the hope.
Yeah,
you know?
That's a sad reality. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the solution is. But if I was in that position and my job was eliminated, you know, in my early 50s, early 60s, I wouldn't know what to do. That would suck.
See, like, we won't know until we cross that bridge, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that's so far in the future. We don't even know what's going to happen 30 years from now. Well, at least I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. Like, if you do, damn, tell me what's your secret and who you paid.
Yeah, we can only
like
speculate.
Somebody paid some like tarot reading or some shit.
But I think the point that I'm trying to make is this. What you have is now, and what you do now can definitely affect what your life situation is going to be down the road. So I know that it's important to enjoy your life in the present. But for me, like, I'm always thinking, what can I do now to set me up in a position so that even in my early 50s or my 60s, no matter what happens, I'll be good, because I would have planned my life appropriately. I would have saved up enough money. I would have developed some passive cash flow to where if my job was eliminated due to these technological advances, I'd be like, all right, cool. You know, I'll be all right. So I guess my question is to everyone: it's like, if that were to happen, what are you doing now to prepare for that?
That's the right way. That's the right mantra for forward thinking and thinking about the future, not worrying about the future and you know, not being actively. You're just not worrying. You're not being reactive. You're being proactive. You know, so that's the way to do it. You know?
Yeah, man.
Nor are you dwelling, or thinking about the past and thinking about what you could change. But yeah, that's a good way. That's the way, I'd say.
But I think the stress comes from if you're in that position, and then your job gets eliminated. Like, I'm pretty sure you'd be thinking to yourself, "Oh, dang! I wish I had done something earlier to prevent me from getting into this situation."
Right.
Maybe that could have been like, I wish I saved more money.
Yeah.
I wish that I was smarter with my money. I wish I, got a better education and I educated myself. I wish I worked harder. So, but here I am in my 50s and 60s looking back, or I'm looking at my situation right now. I'm pretty much, my income is gone. Like, I don't have enough energy to go back to school. I feel like it's too late to start over. I don't have enough energy to start over.
Right.
It's a tough situation.
Yeah, the I wish and the I shoulda, coulda, woulda type of mentality is not. That's not it. That's not the way. I mean, I wonder how. Maybe you guys know, because I don't know how Social Security is for some of these older folks. Because back in the day when my grandma, my Lola, that's a Tagalog for grandma. If you guys didn't know, was chilling off of Social Security money, and it was good in the early 90s, late 80s. But I wonder what the pool of money is now. I
I just know it won't exist.
Yeah, the uncertainty of
I'm not counting on that.
yeah, dudes.
Personally.
It's tough. It's like you would think federal government, what have you. It's like our longevity is in their best interest, but not so much, I guess.
Well, what I've noticed in some Filipino families, and this is somewhat of a joke, a running joke in the Filipino culture.
Go for it. Yeah.
I think when people have kids, or when they think about their retirement plan, or if you ask them about their retirement plan, you ask them, "What's your retirement plan?" It's like, "Oh, I'm going to have 6 or 7 kids. One of them is bound to become a doctor or a nurse, and they'll take care of me."
It's like a game of chance. Yeah. It's like, let's have a number of kids, like 5 or whatever. Let's have a pool of kids. Let's have the kids, and then one of them's gonna like what?
The thing I think about when I think about older families, older Filipino families, there's a lot of factors that influence the having many children. I think one of which was you just didn't have the medical advancements in the Philippines, so you wanted to have children to succeed you, just in case. Because
it's a just in case mentality.
Yeah, because if this one dies, we're okay with this other 10. That's how my mom's family was. They had 10. 2, I don't even know if they had access to condoms and shit. So I feel like the contraceptives, there you go, that's the right term. Mm-hmm. I don't know that they had access to that, so they just kind of did whatever with whoever, whenever.
But I wonder how come the thought of with that many children, how am I going to feed them? It's like if
they made it work.
If poverty or just lower level living was the norm, it's like
I wish I could ask my grandparents that question. How am I going to feed them? Because all 10 of my mom and a lot of her siblings, they made it. They're good, like most of them were good. But what I mean to say is that they all grew up. They didn't die from famine.
Right.
So they were able to make it work. And being an adult now, I wish I could ask them that question where it's like, man, I really would like to know how you pulled that off with such limited resources and time.
Yeah.
I respect them for that. It's something that when I was a kid, I never ever, and you know, me and my grandfather, we were at ends with each other. Like we never really saw eye to eye because I was like a kid. Like I didn't know the value of work or, you know, keeping your family safe or working to keep your family safe or fed.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. And then my grandfather just like, he's just such a timid guy. He just didn't want us playing and getting hurt and all this stuff. So he would constantly be like shutting everything I want to do down. And
Like chastising you for playing video games
yeah, he
or
didn't want me to
going
play
outside
video
or
games.
something.
He didn't want me to play outside. It's just kind of like, I didn't get it before. And as a result, I never really liked him when I grew up. But, you know, to this day, like, since I last saw him, it's like, damn, I feel really bad because only now as an adult do I really comprehend what he went through to get his family safe or to keep his family safe and fed and all that. So, you know, on the list of people I would have at my dinner party, like here, and here, I'd have both my grandfathers and Kobe Bryant. Because I have something to tell each of them, you know. But definitely for both my grandfathers, like they came from poverty, but they managed to raise all their children right, correctly, and they were fed. So I want to thank them for that.
Heck yeah, man. And that's the sort of I guess old school Filipino fighting spirit. We'll figure it out type of thing that is not inherently a first world thing. I'm not saying it's a third world thing, but yeah, like, I mean, that's how they lived. They just made it work.
Speaking about Filipino fighting spirit, Pacquiao retired from boxing.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I didn't know until a bunch of Filipinos posted it on social media. I was like, oh, cool.
I didn't know until a non-Filipino told me. It's like, you know, like
a non-Filipino.
Like,
wow.
How'd you know?
Yeah, right.
Well, he's going to focus on his running for presidency.
Political career.
I hope he wins. I would
nuts.
like to see what happens to that country when a common folk becomes elected president.
That'd be funny if it's like he challenges every other president in the world to fight him.
Boss fight
That'd be
style.
awesome, man. Think about it. It's just like, oh, we don't have to go to war. We don't have to like deploy armies. Just you and I, fist to fist.
That's so funny.
Mano y mano.
You know what would be an interesting matchup? Putin versus Pacquiao, because Putin's supposed to be a black belt in judo.
Is that confirmed? That's funny.
Well, I scoff at that because it's like I feel like he just like everybody just makes him to be a god of sorts. I just think it's hilarious. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but you know. Anyway, because like there's pictures of Putin riding a bear. I don't think that's real.
Photoshopped.
And it's just like Putin's a black belt. I was just like, you know, like Vladimir Putin's like such a memeable president too. President.
What about like the requirements in like North Korea to, you know, the things you have to do in order to honor the great leader? Like, for example, I heard this on the Yeonmi Park podcast with Joe Rogan, that if your house was burning, the number one priority is to save the picture of the great leader.
Oh my goodness.
That entire country is just something else, man. Something else.
I can't believe it.
So weird that a country like this exists today.
And that the international community tolerates it.
We just, like, the way I understand it is, and I'm a moron, I don't know anything. I'm no political leader. I'm no political analyst. I'm nothing. I'm just a guy who plays in a band and, you know, talks on a mic every now and again. Look at it that way. But the way I see this thing with North Korea is why are we letting this happen? With like this guy is torturing his people, not feeding them, purposely like making them starve,
Brainwashing
them.
Yeah,
And
it's nuts.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're parked next to China, and if we do something against North Korea, it's against China. You know, so it's there's a double standard there. If North Korea fires a missile, it's North Korea who's responsible, and China had nothing to do with it, supposedly.
Okay.
But if we do something against North Korea, then we do something against China too. It's so weird. Because,
Well, yeah.
and I understand this because they're parked right next to China, and South Korea being such a westernized nation, which the U.S. has military presence there, if they were to
Right.
gain control of North Korea, that would mean they'd park right next to China. And that's the main reason why they don't want to. They're letting North Korea do whatever the hell they want.
And they are indeed allied forces.
Yeah. Well, allied in a sense that it's either you're with us or you're against us. It's pretty black and white the way I see things, where it's like, all right, you're either with us or you're with the West, like the United States,
Right.
and the United Nations,
Yeah.
and South Korea, Japan, all that. It's such a weird concept, the way that North Korea exists. I wonder if down the line we're going to look back to this moment in time and be like, yeah, it exists. It existed. It still exists, where people are being tortured in an entire country and they don't even know it. I think that's true.
They see it
repression.
as their norm and their daily
That's
routine.
true
They
oppression.
worship the leader, this and that.
People think that they're oppressed here in this country for whatever reason, but that's true oppression to the point where people don't even know it. They're answering for crimes that their grandparents committed, and it was something as simple as like not crying hard enough when Kim Jong-il died. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
something
laughable
so
like that.
Like one of the guards is like, "Nope, not crying hard enough." And then
you're
And you get killed.
You
Like,
and the
what?
rest of your
Yeah.
family are going to jail. It's like when I listened to that podcast, like what I heard was that North Koreans don't even understand the concept of love. They only
Mhm.
understand like procreation just for procreation. There's no making love. There's no sex. Like for that reason, it's only for like you're doing things just like you're robots or you're just animals.
or what about the healthcare system over there?
Or
I think Yeonmi Park mentioned that there's no penicillin, so you have to share needles. Ugh.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those same needles used for like the same for every person or something like that. To that effect.
Oh man.
I think about how here we're pretty liberal with making sure we don't share a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah.
And that could be as simple as like not even sharing the same cup,
Right.
let alone medical equipment that's like going into people's bodies.
Yeah.
That's
IV
tough.
wise, why? Nuts. That's crazy.
But, you know, I can't believe North Korea is allowed to get away with all the things that they
Right.
are.
Yeah, it would be nice to hear, a rebuttal from them.
Yeah,
Like,
a real world rebuttal,
Yeah.
firsthand account.
Like, I'm just interested what they would say. It's like, no, it's
Like,
not
no,
like
this is
that.
normal. It's fine.
Like, don't believe those Western lies. As you can see, people are happy here. See, take a look. And then they flash a snapshot to like a 4'10" dude who's like malnourished.
Not
They'd
even
say The
smiling.
North Koreans are smaller in
Yeah.
stature than the South Koreans.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not hard to imagine why. But
Oh man, that's just.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I can't
That's
believe we're
tough.
letting that happen.
Yep.
Um,
And like, I don't know what the complicated politics are, right? But I just think if I was inserted into that kind of life, like I would hate it. And
as an
I-
outsider,
like,
because we know a better
Yeah.
life.
yeah.
But imagine growing
And I-
up inherently knowing that was the truth and the norm, and that was good for you. Like that's.
I think if
crazy.
you go to North Korea, because you can go to North Korea, like you can buy a ticket to Pyongyang, that'd be nuts. But you're under surveillance the entire time,
yeah.
and you could go
Ah.
missing if you if you step out of line.
Well, Indescendants goes too.
Oh no,
Hell no.
we don't need to go there.
Just kidding, guys.
There's nothing that place offers than saying, "Oh, I've been there," and that's it. It's like I'd rather go to South Korea. I want to get some real Korean
Let's get Dennis Rodman's account on his visit over there.
he got a much better account because he's rich. Like, and you know, like when you have money, like
oh man, money talks.
Yeah, money talks. So of course he was living probably as. Yeah,
but why would you want to go to North Korea though?
I don't think they offer anything other than maybe black market like firearms dealing,
AK-47s and
some shit like that. Like there's nothing in North Korea that I see as of value.
Like what's their tourist attraction over there?
Kim Jong-un.
He's
like the
his
fattest
lair.
North Korean. I can say that with confidence. He's probably the biggest North Korean there.
Well, he's probably the most fed. Like,
of course.
Meanwhile,
I don't think anybody would eat him because that'd be an insult to him.
Right.
And they'd die.
All the sustenance, all the normal food that we have, he probably partakes of.
I can't believe that exists.
That's so
I
crazy.
just can't believe that exists.
But then again, we're so far removed from living in North Korea. We don't know how it actually is.
We can only speculate.
We can only speculate, and we can only go off of what Yeonmi Park was saying during the podcast.
Yeah. Everything is anything the internet gives us is all speculation. Like, but it's also get a lot of firsthand accounts from North Korea because they just really don't.
It's already filtered as well.
It's already
perhaps
filtered.
Doctored. Whatever.
The thing about these North Koreans, though, they try to get their people to go back. They go through. They send, like, I don't know if it's Kim Jong-un, but their government sends people out to find these North Koreans and then bring them back. That's what happened to a South Korean lady. Gotcha. Or no. That's what happened to a North Korean who escaped to South Korea. Then she went on a holiday. Her. Yeah, they tracked her. They followed her the whole time, right? She escaped North Korea. She went on holiday with her South Korean husband.
Whoa.
And she officially became South Korean. But because she was born in North Korea, they found her and they took her back. They kidnapped her. That's fucking nuts.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's a movie.
So,
that is a movie.
I just know that if life is actually how Yeonmi Park says it is, I think we should be so fortunate to be living in America, no matter how bad we think it is.
Yeah, man.
We can do better, but we're definitely a lot better than North Korea.
Yeah. Just think about like all the social programs that are available to us, like welfare, Social Security, baseline level of insurance.
Yeah, EBT.
Health, yeah.
We have so many things here that are great that people just take advantage of. Unfortunately. Yeah. And there are some dualities here. It's good that we have these systems in place to help people when they need it. But I think that's also created this level of comfort to
abuse.
A point. And this level of comfort, which then in turn turns into abuse. Because people have this mentality, or probably subconsciously, they don't even know, where, I don't need to work. I'll get unemployment and I can live because I'm living at home, or I'm doing whatever.
Right.
I'm able to make ends meet. And it doesn't create any more drive for them because now they're like, whatever. Why do I have to work so hard when I can just work for this and then still get welfare or EBT?
Why is it? It seems as if the ease of life and just making things extremely easy is such inherently an American thing. Like, why is that?
Yeah, going back to automation. Automation is doing that too. People don't have to work as hard, so things become. It's like we have it so good here in America that we're worried about other things that other countries just don't worry about.
Just first world problems.
Yeah, that's what I call first world problems.
Yeah.
Like, I think we talked about this before, where it's like I don't know that Americans really have anxiety or depression.
We did touch upon that
to the extent that other countries have it. It's like, why does a third world country like the Philippines or Thailand or whatever have not as many cases of this, but America does.
Yeah, maybe we falsify conditions, not falsify, but falsify, but also, I guess create conditions that don't exist, or
create
over exaggerate.
Create conditions that don't exist, or you create too much criteria for happiness.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a flip side. Yeah, same
Create
thing.
too much
Yeah.
criteria for happiness.
Right,
Well, it's
right.
like, why can't we
And
just
then-
be happy? You know?
Then when you don't meet that criteria, then that's when you get down on yourself, or you get hard on
Just
yourself.
because you don't have
especially now
XYZ.
that we're grown people, we don't have we know more about the world. But what if you're like a teenager and you're looking on Instagram and you're not getting likes or whatever?
You're being
You've put value on that, or worse, you get cyberbullied to where your identity is tied to your social media account,
right.
which sucks.
Is contingent. Your
So
happiness is
you're-
contingent upon
Yeah,
likes, views.
So that's a first world problem, man.
Yeah,
Like
man.
to me, if I were to to have offspring, I would. I feel so conflicted about giving them a phone.
You almost
because
want
of
to
that
shield them
reason.
from.
I don't want them to go through that. Or it's like, I want you to go out and play, not be in here.
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna be inside, like playing video games, it better be like dope video games.
You know what's interesting? I have, maybe on a side tangent that's a little bit relatable. My nephew, who is about, I want to say 4 or 5, wants to become a YouTube star, a YouTube influencer. And like he doesn't,
No.
in his mind, like growing up, it's like a job is not a thing. Like he wants to, he grew up, his parents are like, I think early 40s or whatever. My cousins, his childhood, his formative toddler years was growing up playing with an iPad, and it's like
Oh,
I
man.
wonder. He's a funny kid, but I wonder what his adolescent life and teenage life and adult life is going to be like.
I remember going to a restaurant, and I remember there was this kid.
When was this, Tim?
It was some years back. There was this kid who would not shut up unless an iPad or a phone was in front of him and it was loud. So it pissed off this guy behind him, and this guy left the restaurant like pissed off. Like he even slammed the door and then banged the window against the family. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But he was just, it was disturbing to see a kid demand an iPad or a phone, like to be that loud in a restaurant. It's pretty rude. So I can't believe like this is the next generation of kids. Like, man.
And I take it there's probably a lack of reprimanding from his whatever parents or whoever was there,
Well-
the adults. Did they even try?
I don't know. I'm not here to tell people how to parent their child, but
Yeah,
I
of
would
course.
do it that way.
Just take them out.
I would. We need to take them out or make it so that, look, you can't have this here, and I will enforce that early. Where it's that there's a time and a place for everything, and you can't do this here. Because my parents did that to me. They're like,
yeah.
you can't play with your Game Boy here, because we had Game Boys in my time. You'd play whatever, but you can't do that at certain points in time. And it's
Yeah.
just at the time I didn't get it, but now I do. Where it's just like, all right, and you had no choice but to listen.
There seems
Play-
to be yeah. I'm just go ahead, Keith.
Play with your Game Boy at church during the homily.
Ding.
Okay, I
the
never
chime.
did that. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
at
never did
least
that either.
understood that church is church. I didn't do
A
much.
place to be
I
respectful.
think the worst thing I did at church when I was a kid, and that's because I was just a kid, was eat Chips Ahoy. That's it. I never brought my Game Boy to church and played it. I don't think it was like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the worst thing I did was eat Chips Ahoy.
There seems to be a fluidity in like social norms right now. It's like parenting styles, like someone's normal in a social in like a crowd in a social setting in a restaurant is different from another person's another family's like
Yeah.
what's the norm. Maybe what's irreverence is kind of becoming like a thing like okay, because I guess these days there's like there's like everything's fluid now. Almost anything you could make fluid. It's like is there common courtesy now? Is that out the window? Is chivalry
right.
out the window? Can I not open a door for
Dude,
for a girl,
you're
for a woman
absolutely right.
these days without being like, I don't need help? It's like, well, I'm literally just trying to be nice. Like, that's one example.
Even just common courtesy, because I was telling Tim I had one of the worst dates that I've ever had.
Right.
The girl I was on a date with, it was so rude and disrespectful because instead of like being focused on our date and our conversation, she'd just be on her phone the entire time.
That really bums me out, man.
And even when we're walking together, she would just be on her phone, just responding to her messages, and to the point where like I'd be walking and I thought that I lost her because she was just walking so slow from texting.
Yeah.
Like I came this close to saying, well, obviously you're preoccupied with what you got going on, so I'm out.
Yeah.
But just with what you were saying is like common courtesy out the window. Yeah, I would say that it's dying. These simple things, these simple considerate things that we exhibit in human interaction, they're dying.
Yeah.
How many people can go without like looking at their phones for at least for 5 minutes?
Right. I mean, but again, maybe that girl thought of that as the modern norm and maybe was not at all trying to be disrespectful to you, but saw it as like, okay, well, everyone's on their phone these days. I'm sure Keith wouldn't mind. Maybe that was the thought process.
That's kind of
but
messed
it's interesting. What, like for a first date, when like, I mean,
wouldn't you want to be engaged?
Well, yeah, man.
Like I look at, I kind of measure that too, to an extent, where I've been on dates or I've been with people in general where they're on their phone more of the time, but even more so when it's a date. So if I'm on a date and you're spending any amount of time on the phone, I look at that as either one, you're just not engaged, so you don't care about me. Two, clearly whatever you have there is more important. So I start to get turned off. Personally.
Yeah.
So,
I consider it to be disrespectful.
Oh well, that's what I was getting to. Is just like on the whole, it's like what are you doing, man? That's the society we're fostering, where it's like we're constantly having to look at our phone now because that's how we get updates. We get binged and bonged by whatever, and that sucks, man. I can't believe we're fostering this like mentality where it's like the true bliss is being unplugged.
Yeah, I always have do not disturb mode and silent mode. So, if you're trying to reach out to me, sorry, but I'll look at it later. I mean that's my normal mode. On occasion I'll have the ringer on, but that's the way I try to unplug and really separate myself from having too much quote unquote screen time.
Yeah.
What I've learned through my practice of meditation and diving into the subconscious is that like during downtime, maybe you have 10 minutes, 15 minutes of downtime. Like there's a lot of shit buried in your subconscious in the form of triggers, past trauma, things that happened in your childhood, insecurities, that you can use that downtime to dive deep into in order to address. But if you're constantly on your phone and you can't go 5 to 10 minutes without looking at your phone, then you never really have that opportunity to dive down deep into the subconscious in order to address those underlying issues.
Right.
And so when you don't address those underlying issues, then eventually they will find its way through passive aggressive behavior.
I was gonna say that, Keith. Yeah, yeah. Passive. You'll be triggered later on, and you'll project maybe in a conversation with someone or something. So it's for mental clarity's sake. The meditation.
Yeah, it's like you'll have a disproportionate response to something.
Yeah,
because that's your subconscious. Those are your triggers and your trauma.
It could be something as
finding its
easy
way
as
out.
like road rage or like responding adversely to someone's comment. It's like, well, he didn't have to. You know?
Yeah. Or when you see a disproportionate response, you're kind of like, damn, where did that come from?
Right.
Like, it was just a question.
Right.
I was just asking you a question. Like,
Right.
no need to destroy me or flame spray me.
Right.
Just for asking a question.
Right.
But yeah, that's the times that we're moving towards. Like we're denying ourselves that opportunity to dive into the subconscious.
I know. Man, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, man.
But hell, the fact that we can even worry about stuff like this just goes to show that we have it good here.
Yeah.
You know,
These are
We're
not
still,
issues.
again, like back to our North Korea thing, where it's like, damn, well, we have it good that we can worry about things
Yeah.
like this.
We've
So-
got it better than the Philippines. Say the three of us were living in the Philippines right now as upper middle class, regular people. You know, it's like, oh man,
I only know this from
It'd be different.
first-hand accounts from my parents, family.
yeah,
You know, I don't know what it's like to live there. I
Same.
can't fully say that we have it completely better, but at least from what they tell me, yeah,
a little better, for sure.
it's to me
So-
it's speculative.
You're
I
right.
spent a considerable amount of time in the Philippines, taking vacations there, and I would take a vacation there maybe 2 to 3 times a year, maybe 2 to 3 weeks each time.
Right.
And each time that I visited the Philippines, I was able to look at it more closely with a magnifying glass to see how the people really live there. So there are modernized cities in Manila, such as Bonifacio, Global City, Makati, all these, all these other metropolitan
Right.
cities that have made significant
Americanized, if you will.
advances. Yeah.
Mhm.
And, like walking around in those cities, it's almost like you're in a U.S. state,
Okay.
because American culture has a pretty significant influence over there. But the more I visited the Philippines and I dove deeper in with that magnifying glass, there are some things that like they're still lacking. For example, the banking system, like they don't have Venmo or Zelle, and you still got to carry like a whole bunch of cash around with you.
Yeah.
Or
Oh.
for example, even something as basic as like the aqueducts or the water infrastructure,
Right.
the drain infrastructure. Dude, why do you think it always floods there during typhoon season? Because, the aqueducts or, the sewage system or the sewer system is not like the same as it is over here. in
Right.
the
But also the
US.
pollution the infrastructure was not made to accommodate all that trash and crap that they put into the water. So
Yeah.
I mean, here, we have grates. We have grates in the
Mhm.
drains, but there's also sorting systems and facilities. But yeah, I can only imagine how it's like not up to date. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not the
and
same.
even as I was walking on Manila Bay, it's nice. They had a lot of nice attractions there, but there was this one part of Manila Bay where it just smelled like straight up sewage, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And I guess like there's a faulty there at the time. There was a faulty sewage line to where like sewage was just going straight up into the ocean.
Oh man, green and brown water, I'd imagine. Ugh. Sorry to mention.
Gross.
Another thing is healthcare. So a doctor here in the United States gets paid pretty well, right?
Yeah.
But like over there in the Philippines, I hear that doctors are not compensated as well as doctors over here.
Interesting. Thus, their amount of effort and care may not be up, maybe subpar,
Yeah.
maybe. That sucks
Yeah.
that doctors don't get compensated that much.
Well, I actually know a doctor in the Philippines because he used to be a classmate of mine when we were in elementary school here.
MD?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's MD. It's MD there.
Okay.
but I don't think it translates to MD here.
Standards wise, or
I think he's only. I don't know how it works, man. I think MD becomes nurses here. I don't know why
Like
that
nurse-
is. That
nurse practitioner.
sucks. So he was like, well, I'm not gonna come to the States because I can't be a doctor there. Like, I think they have different standards. So he's living in the Philippines now. He was born here.
that's crazy.
Like, he's
man.
Filipino, and I think he's married now. But his brother, I actually ran into over here, and I was like, "Hey, man, how's your brother?" He's like, "Yeah, he's doing good. His parents were good. Like, he's good. None of them got hit with COVID, thankfully. But yeah, his brother's doing okay. He said that he's a doctor there now. But
Interesting.
The only reason he's staying there is because he can perform at his level of
His just normal
medical, whatever level of medical. Like, he's a doctor there. He can't be a doctor
license
here.
wise.
Yeah, like that's the best level he can get. So, and plus his life's there now because his wife is there now, and pretty sure they're gonna have a family.
Yeah.
So,
Imagine
So,
if standards. Oh, go ahead, Keith.
Oh,
Sorry,
that's, I was gonna say. So I heard once they're in their intern, I mean they do their residency. I hear that the hours are crap, and that they don't get paid as much. But I also heard too, once you set up your own practice, I think that's when you start making a decent amount of money.
You can
I think the same
recuperate.
can be said of doctors here.
Yeah.
Because the thing about doctors here is that they spend their entire 20s going to school and being residents, and then they do that in their 30s too. I believe the by the time they're 40, that's when their life really starts, because they're already on their own and doing things. So when you come across doctors here who are fairly young, you got to understand that they probably threw away a lot of their 20s going to school and learning and stuff. So they probably didn't have as much fun as most people would have. So the doctor's such an admirable profession here. So at least here.
That's where hard work is still commendable. Not that hard work isn't commendable. I'm trying to say that it does take a lot of hard work, and that deserves a respect and a little praise, I guess, because they put in work, man. They sacrifice,
yeah, man.
I was gonna say, what if imagine if standards and medical standards and medical care availability was unified. Like, imagine if we had Canada's system out here in the States, or where everything's publicly free and of high quality when it comes to care. It's like, man,
it's different though.
Imagine.
In Canada. Like,
I don't know.
The good part
that was
about
just
having
comparison.
a healthcare system where it's like the way it is now is that it makes it competitive, and competition spurs advancement. When you don't have competition, there's no advancement.
Interesting. Never saw
In
it
general,
that way.
that happens with anything.
And
I
it
usually
also spurs incentive.
Exactly.
Right.
So people are competing for your dollar.
Right. On the care side of things, Tim.
But like
anything.
If we had socialized medicine like in Canada, would it really be better here in the U.S.?
I don't think.
Because
I don't know, man.
We all know what to do in order to stay healthy. Stop smoking. Stop drinking so much. Don't be so obese. Work out. Sleep well. As long as you get the basics down, I think you can live a pretty healthy life. Now, I do understand that people are born with conditions that are just out of their control. And I think that's what the healthcare system is set up for those anomalies. But for like the 80%, for the majority, I feel like we should get the basics down so that there wouldn't be so much of a need for socialized medicine.
It's difficult because these are extremely polarizing times where I don't know whether you should be free or you should just be held accountable, because there are certain things where I think if you don't take care of yourself, you should be inclined to pay more.
Maybe it should be.
There's the argument where it's like, oh, but I need to be free. This is a free country, isn't it? If I want to eat a cheeseburger every day, then so be it.
Are you saying maybe merit-based care? So it's like, if you really, really need it, those costs will be lower for you, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I'm relatively healthy. Like, I don't need to see the doctor like every month. Like, I'll take a yearly physical and make sure I'm active and eating okay. Eating all right.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. But there's some people out there who need like a triple bypass, and they're super fat, and they're smoking and doing all these other things they shouldn't be doing. But
If you look at it from an economic perspective, maybe the reason why healthcare costs are so high is because the demand for it is so high. And why is the demand for healthcare services high? Well, I think obesity is at its highest point here in America, which, results in how many second or third order side effects, right? Like, Tim, what are some of the things that things that obesity brings, right? One of them is diabetes, right?
usually, yeah.
What, like high blood pressure?
Usually those are a tandem. Being real big brings both of those.
Yeah.
You'll have higher blood pressure, and you'll have insulin resistance, which causes you to have type 2 diabetes.
So
Which sucks.
At that point, you become a ticking time bomb, right? It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
And so, like, if obesity is at its highest point and it's creating such a demand on the healthcare system, so it makes sense why healthcare is so expensive, right? Because we don't have an infinite supply of doctors and nurses, right? So we're going to have to weed out the ones that, that we're going to have to find some sort of screening process, and that screening process is supply and demand.
A friend told me that we should have a fat tax.
Whoa.
A fat tax. It'd be so funny. It's like I could see how it's wrong, but oh man, like think about how many problems that would solve. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't support that, nor do I. I'm just like, this is what I think. If you were to have a fat tax and to finally like hold people accountable for stuff, because it's when you're fat, like, you consume more resources. You've consumed more resources. So if you're gonna get taxed for that, look, they tax people for cigarettes.
That's true for vices.
Cigarettes get a pretty
like
because cigarettes are a vice, right? So
overeating is a vice too. So maybe
let me finish.
Yeah.
So the thing about like cigarettes is they get taxed now. These people who smoke, they get taxed, but they don't give a shit because they're gonna smoke. Usually, people who smoke are just gonna smoke.
Anyways, yeah.
But they get taxed. That's the point here. It's more difficult to draw that line with eating because you need to eat. You need sustenance.
Because it's a commodity.
Like,
it's
it's
a
not
need.
like cigarette. You don't need a cigarette to live, but you need food to live. It's difficult to draw that line between eating and overeating. And it's like a weird paradox, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
In this country where a healthy food is expensive as fuck, but unhealthy food is cheap. You can get what's the cheapest meal you can get? Like a $3 meal, a cheeseburger and fries and
a
Coke,
drink.
and that can be as little as $3.
I think right now,
we're
$3,
like
$4
$3 at, let's say, a Whole Foods doesn't get you.
Can get you
lot.
a bar.
A bar. And what kind of bar though? And how much is in that bar? Is it enough to sustain?
I know what kind of bar it'll get you. It'll get you specifically this RX bar.
Right. Which will hold you over. But what if you're really hungry? What if you just need on the calorie side of things, that's not enough. That's just a snack,
Or
if you
is
will.
it? I don't know. How many calories are in that bar? What does it say?
210.
I think that's decent.
Yeah.
For a meal.
And this is something I wanted to inject too, right? Here in America, when we're hungry, like, we can get something to eat. But in North Korea,
Oh yeah.
like, I don't know if it's guaranteed that you could find something to eat.
People there, like, they scrounge for anything, man. That sucks. Like, we still have it good here.
Yeah.
The bottom line is we still have it good here. I mean, we do I subscribe to the belief that we can always do better, but that doesn't mean that I hate everything.
Right.
I still don't take anything for granted. I'm very happy that we have a lot of good things here. So, that being said, make sure that you just take care of yourself. Stay healthy. Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
But I think it is a shame, though, when someone lets themselves go and, they put on a lot of weight, especially since I know I've seen that person before the weight gain, and maybe they were a super attractive girl or a super ripped guy.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like once they put on that weight gain, despite their best efforts, I feel like sometimes they don't know how to get out of it.
Oh, man. Right, because perhaps their self-esteem has been chipped away, their confidence has been chipped away, overall happiness is chipped away, and they will succumb to I'm just gonna eat, and that makes me happy, but obviously overeating.
These quick and easy pleasures are just easier than having to grind it out, and lose the weight,
right? Because work is work. When you work at something, I don't understand how people claim to be like, oh, I look good, I feel good, blah, blah, blah. But really, they're not. And, some people will say, I'm trying to lose weight. And they buy 7 sugary Starbucks drinks and drink boba. Or eat they post that they're some guy posted that his mom made these cakes, and then she's wondering why he's so fat. And it's as if to say that he's blaming his mom for him being fat. It's bro, you still have a choice. You can have all the vices in the world in front of you. If you choose to not, or if you choose to take it or not take it, that's your choice.
Right.
It doesn't matter who's there presenting what to you.
Zig Ziglar, one of the authors of a good self-improvement book that I read when I was younger, he used to be overweight, and then he lost the weight. And so he took full responsibility of his weight gain by saying, you know what, in my life, there was never a time in my life where I accidentally ate too much. Or I never accidentally ate anything. And that meant to say, it was a conscious choice to eat the things that he was eating.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
It's a conscious choice. Everything we do is at least while we're awake, is a conscious choice. There are some things that we do in our sleep, though. What I found interesting in college was there's some people who don't even know that it's called sexomnia. This was such an interesting topic that I did a paper on it in college. Look it up. So Keith, look this up while I'm talking about it. But it's called sexomnia. Basically, it's you in your sleep. It's like how people sleepwalk, but these people have sex and they're not even aware of it. Yeah, in their sleep.
Okay, here's a definition right here.
Nuts, man.
It says right here that
characterized as parasomnia, sexomnia is a complex sleep disorder involving sexual behaviors during sleep, particularly during non-rapid eye movement sleep. Parasomnias occur in between sleep stages where you act out awake-like behaviors when you are still asleep.
That's crazy, man.
Isn't that nuts? I think that's nuts. You could engage in sexual activity while you're asleep. What? That doesn't make any sense to me. But apparently it's a thing.
Whoa.
It's damn. That'd be dope. Your partner sleeping next to you and it's just decides to let's do it. They don't even know it.
Whoa.
Here it is. One cause of sexomnia is a sleep-related epilepsy that can cause a person to experience sexual arousal, pelvic thrusting, and orgasms.
That's crazy, man. What the heck?
That's nuts. But it exists. But again, it goes back to usually when we're in our unconscious state and we're sleeping, we only really, it goes back to that Maslow's hierarchy again. Sex is a bottom layer fundamental need along with food and shelter and hydration. But, so intrinsically and primally, we need that. So your body's probably just trying to tell you something. You probably just you need to get some. Unless you're just some fat guy who probably blames his mom for having 2 leche flans. Then you probably ain't getting that either.
Oh man,
sucks to be you.
No cake.
Just saying.
Well, man, haven't you ever thought about that? Being obese. Like, I feel like it should be made obvious to an obese person. Like, hey, dude, this is a problem. Like, you need to address this, or you're gonna straight up die.
I will say this: there is, unfortunately, a finer line now to be drawn with that. It sucks because there are these people who argue that being big and being fat is just who they are, and they attach their identity to it, and they don't want to lose the weight because now we're too woke. And what I mean by that is there are 2 sides of this seesaw, where if you say somebody's fat, like they mean to receive that as you're making fun of me, you're degrading me, you're calling me things that I shouldn't be called, and if you were to call someone a fat piece of shit, I don't think that's right. I think that is degrading someone. Where if you were to say, hey, you're overweight, don't you consider the complications from being overweight? You could be healthier if you are. I know we've touched on this before. Why does it have to be a conversation about weight loss all of a sudden means that I'm attacking you? Like, I'm not. Like, if your doctor were to say it because they're a medical professional, it's okay. But if some passerby was to say it, it's as if to say oh, you're calling me a fat piece of shit. It's like, no, dude, there's so many benefits to just being lighter and not eating so much and to just not having so much food.
Right.
Because the attitude is who are you to tell me? Who are you to judge me on the decisions that I've made?
Well, that's where we are nowadays. Again, a first world problem where we now question absolutely everything. We as a society, we don't like people telling us what to do. I'm pretty sure that people don't like the stuff that's coming out now about people being told what to do. I think in this country we should be able to make choices for ourselves. I think we should have options available, and if people don't want to have these options to do whatever that are mandated, we'll talk about it here because we know what's going to happen. But I think people should be allowed to choose what they want to do. It should be right one way or another, just as long as we understand there are consequences to those actions. That's all. And respect goes a long way, regardless of whatever way you swing.
Right.
Respect goes a long way. Just respect each other.
Unfortunately, that has gone out the window, along with common courtesy. So,
because
what can we do?
I think a lot of that also is social media. Again, that goes back to the topics we talked about with social media, where it was really meant to engage us more in other people's lives, but it has done more, I think, to divide people. Where I wish people just sat down and talked more.
Yeah.
Instead of just being posted on. You notice how there's Twitter battles?
Yeah.
They could be halfway
Twitter
across the world between
battles.
2 people and having Twitter battles, and that just creates division because people don't sit down and talk. Like what we're doing, even though Keith's on the other side of the world, we're sitting down and talking.
Yeah.
I think we hammer out a lot more things as humans when we talk to each other face to face, in person, the way things should be, the way social interaction is really meant for, not social media. I really wish we could just sit down and talk a lot more. I think a lot of the world's problems would be solved if we just sat down and talked.
Yeah.
With or without cameras, preferably without. I feel like that's just
So I'll go ahead and start off the conversation right now. So if I was talking to an obese person, I would be like, hey man, or hey sister, like, haven't you thought about losing a little bit of weight? I mean, just look at the benefits of losing some weight. You're lighter on your feet. You have more vitality. Your health indicators will be more favorable, indicating that you're a healthy individual. And really just gives you more capacity to do cool stuff.
You know, Keith, I don't even know how to... Yeah, I wouldn't know how to spearhead that conversation today with people that I know. And it's like I have to like tiptoe my way into conversation without, alarming them, without offending them. It's like, man, this...
it's
hard.
Well, as with any conversation with a stranger, especially like with you guys, I can talk about stuff.
Right,
but let's say I don't know you guys. It's not like I'm gonna go balls to the wall. Like, hey, you need to fucking lose weight.
Yeah.
You need to stop doing whatever. You need to work out. You need to exercise. Like, no.
Yeah. But
you should just start slowly.
With your friends and maybe closer acquaintances, maybe that's a little bit easier to do. Because there's a level of there's already a rapport and respect.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it ain't easy, man. But you should there are so many more benefits to being like lighter on your feet and healthy, but none of it was pushed in the last year and a half, especially after everything that's been talked about and everything that's been happening in the world. With with stuff that we
again, fluidity and the sort of ambiguous nature
it sucks
of everything,
but whatever.
But if people are asking, like, why are these fools talking about like obesity? These people these three are in a rock band. Well,
that's funny.
like what the hell do they know about the social issues? Well,
we don't. We're not pros.
It's easy to talk about these things and address them here. Why? Because in some form or way, it affects our lives. We can't help but like be affected by these things too.
Yeah, it's just like we just talk about what we see.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make us experts.
Right. But we're
just
aware.
Makes us human. We're just talking about stuff. We don't have to, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
but the three of us are aware. We're not turning a blind eye. Not like we could actively change all these issues, quote unquote issues, but at least we're aware. And I guess it's a good thing to bring awareness.
Of course.
Right.
Usually is.
Yeah.
But the most that you can do is just to be respectful, just to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sometimes means not having to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to tell people and set them straight. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Let's bring some courtesy back, some common courtesies back, and let's bring real, organic, face-to-face, in-person conversations if you can, if it's safe to do so.
Over a real, organic Indescendants breakfast burrito. I really want to make that happen.
We'll make that happen, man. I was feeding for one today.
One of these podcasts, we're just gonna set up a griddle here and make it. Like, you see this empty space like here, like, hey guys, welcome to Indescendants podcast. We're making our breakfast burrito. Boom. Whole food sourced stuff, or like places where they're like whole foods, or like organic or clean and healthy and all that.
I'm gonna have to whip out the vent here, like Korean barbecue style.
Yeah. We need. Man, I miss having Korean barbecue with you, Keith.
In excess, Korean barbecue is not great, but hey, it's good. Korean barbecue is amazing.
Well, if you're on keto or if you're on the carnivore diet, that's right up your alley.
Yeah,
that can be considered healthy.
I guess if you're on that diet,
just make sure you work it off. Yeah.
Any diet should be complemented with exercise.
Yeah.
Or unless you don't eat at all.
Yeah.
In which case it'd be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we should be pushing like cool stuff, like exercising and eating right.
Yeah.
So it starts with the dope ass Indescendants burrito. Really can't wait to get that going.
We'll get it going, guys. Stay tuned for
Stay
that.
tuned for the fucking Indescendants burrito. Anyway, you guys want to wrap this up?
Yeah.
We're coming up
Yes.
towards our third, length. So, final thoughts, Keith?
Well, I probably said some stuff that's probably going to piss off some obese people. And if that's the case, I'm sorry. Would love to have you on the podcast to ask you questions and get down to the why. So you can set me straight, or
Tell me.
maybe I can help you out.
Why don't we talk, right?
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Like,
And hopefully we don't get into like some belligerent comments war or
Yeah.
Instagram war, or social media war.
yeah.
Just help me understand, like, your situation, and then I'll be the first one to say, okay, cool, I stand corrected.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, just live
Yeah.
a clean, healthy life and just be kind and respectful. And as Jason said, bring some courtesy back.
Yeah, let's
into
bring
the
it back.
world.
My previous sentiments on our previous chat, our previous podcast. But let's again scale it back to basics. I think that's where we'll that's like root cause, sort of. It'll fix a lot of things when we scale it back and get that bigger picture. And let's just get back to
Yes.
basics.
100%.
Stay hydrated, obviously, but
Yeah.
my only wish for the world right now is society as a whole is to bring back that common courtesy and respect.
Yeah, man.
Unfortunately, social media hasn't helped that necessarily, but
It's okay, man.
Yeah.
We can still make it a thing. At least we will be. All right. We at least sit down and talk again.
Yeah. Thanks,
we
guys.
We should do a lot to talk to people and hear their opinions in person, not
Yes.
over a text or not even over a phone call, but rather in person.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something we should strive to bring
Yeah.
back. All right.
Yeah.
So, thanks again. Keith, thanks for having us.
Thanks, Keith.
Staying up late. I know it's late over there,
Yeah.
but
It's 3 a.m,
fudge.
Gosh.
but
Well.
I wanted to do this.
And so do we. So we're glad that you stayed,
Yeah.
bro. So, all right, guys.
Me too.
Cheers.
Cheers to you all. Stay hydrated.
Cheers. Start the path towards health.
Yeah, man. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, guys. Have a
Bye.
good day or night.
Blah blah. Baby.
If you guys like this video, hit the subscribe button for more Indescendants content.